What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Attacking Third. Whether you're with us live or you're listening as a podcast, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm your girl, Darian Jenkins, joined by Arsenal and women's soccer legend Jen Beattie, which of course, we are going to jump in the Women's Champions League final because Arsenal got the dub a little bit later because we have a very, very special guest joining us, Utah Royals left back, mental health advocate, and member of the NWSLPA, Madison Pogarch, all the way from Utah on the holiday. Po, how is it going? Where are you right now?
Hey yo, no, it's good. I'm actually at a coffee shop right now. We actually got out of training a bit early today, so I'm just at a coffee shop hanging out and chatting to you guys. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, what's your coffee order?
I was gonna ask that. Brian,
It changes. I think like as of now, just because it's been hot out, it's like an iced flat white or an iced short latte. In the winters, usually cappuccino.
We're on the same vibe. Jen, you similar?
Yeah.
Are you a black
yeah,
coffee?
I've varied it up as well. I'm like either iced Americano with oat milk. Sometimes on the tough days, guys, I'm a double espresso.
Wow.
Damn.
Tough days sometimes call for it, But yeah, hot days, I'm iced coffee all day.
Yeah,
I'm like, give me 3/4 of some oat milk or something, and then like a little bit of coffee and like a pump of sweetener. I'm like the fake coffee drinker out of us. But Po, thank you so much for joining us. I love that we get to have you on. Not only are you a baller on the field, you're changing the game off the field. And during Mental Health Awareness Month, this is especially important. And you have Positive Apparel, which I've ordered some clothes from. They come in today.
I did see
thought
that.
they were going to
I
get here in
did
time.
see that.
Yep.
Thank you.
I had to order some shirts, but I wanted to know what made you even start Positive Apparel? What was the inspiration for you to get this ground moving?
Yeah, I think for me, just like a big part of my mental health journey has just been really trying to like find other identities. I think like in myself, and so kind of separating, like finding ways to separate me from the soccer player. And so I kind of just like started designing T-shirts like on the side, and the, I guess, a lot of the motivation or like the meanings behind the shirt came from something that was pretty much like going on in my life in the time, or something like a message that meant something to me. And so it really was just kind of like a hobby. I would design it and then started the Etsy shop, and I was like, if someone relates and wants to buy the shirt and they think it's cool, that's great. There's like sometimes I think, I don't know, when you go to like Forever 21, you're like, that's a cool shirt, and then it says like, I hate Mondays or something on the front. I think it was just like, oh, I can design it myself and have something that like I really enjoy, and then if somebody else also like likes it, then they can buy it. So it's really started off like that, and then it also just kind of turned into a vehicle for me to kind of raise money. So I think this month, like, I'm doing the mental health line, and then proceeds and like a portion of those proceeds will go to a mental health support system out here in Utah, and it's actually the Utah version, but it's the organization that created the suicide hotline. But it's like the Utah, so it's like more local here and stuff like that. So I'll try to do stuff that's like more local to the area that I'm in. But yeah, really just started as like a hobby, something just like kind of be able to like play with and enjoy. That's like away from soccer.
Po, well, first of all, this is all really incredible. A hobby, thinking of a shirt from Forever 21 and then turning it into your own line that's now doing well on Etsy. I mean, I had to decide how many to order, which I'm sure I'm going to order more because I have a shopping addiction. But how did you, jumping into this, is this something that's become, therapeutic for you to design and create and really give back to this community?
Yeah, I think so. It was like a really cool way, I think, for me to just like merge some of my interests. Like, sure, like I always kind of took art classes. I've always enjoyed painting, but like don't like the messiness of it. And I think on a computer, it's like much easier to kind of draw and design. I use Canva for the most part, so I like pay for the premium, but kind of just like create some things and then like throw it on a t-shirt and like it's just like creating wearable art. I think was like a really cool idea. So it's just like a way for me to get creativity out into the world, and like I try and say like engage that like childhood play in a sense, to like feed the inner child in me. And then I was just like, if I'm gonna be doing it, and like there's like obviously a little bit, not all of my shirts like go towards a non-profit, but like there's there's a little bit of like side money, a little incentive on the side, but yeah, no, I think it just like started as like completely organic. Like, this is just something I'm going to do for fun, and if it does well, it's great. If it doesn't, it's totally fine. It's really just for me to kind of express myself in a way that doesn't have to do with athletics, really. So I didn't necessarily imagine it taking off, or not taking off, but I think like gaining so much ground, because even some of my teammates are like, "Oh, I thought you're just promoting like a random." Because we can like promote random businesses and stuff. And I was like, no, I actually make those. And so I think I could probably do a better job marketing myself as well. But no, I think the response has been really cool. And so to see people like you and people I know purchasing shirts, and yeah, it's been really awesome, actually.
Definitely sounds like I need to purchase some shirts for sure. Paul, you,
No
you
pressure.
touched on, yeah, I'll order them. All good. Paul, you touched on painting and activities outside of sport.
Yeah.
I know firsthand how important that is for mental health, but why do you think that is? And how much do you encourage teammates to do the same, to get outside of sport and sort of be stimulated mentally to help their mental health?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I think for me, I mean, personally, it's been probably the biggest part in my journey as a professional, and like finding how I can be most successful really is like the more time I think I take away from football, the better I actually am, which sometimes seems like ironic. But I do really think that's helped me, because it creates this opportunity for me to miss it. Like, it creates this like longing where I think as if it's something that you're thinking about all the time, you're doing every day. It can just be a bit monotonous. And I think giving time away gives you the opportunity to remember why you love it. It like keeps it being a dream job as opposed to being just a job. And that's something I think I talk about a lot. Something I advocate with our coaches all the time is like, you cannot overlook how important the time away is, or being able to like water the other parts of yourself. And so I'm always encouraged. I think when we talk to like young kids and in different clubs and stuff like that, I'm always encouraging them to like pursue their interests, because I think we all know that your window to be an athlete is so small, but like you don't stop being you when your career is over. And so this is also, I think, selfishly and personally, a way for me to kind of ease that when that day does come. Because I think, I don't know what I'll do post soccer. I don't know 100%, but I think I'm confident that I'll be able to figure it out, because I know that I have other things that I'm contributing to the world that aren't just in my sport. And I've had to work, very hard on that over the last 7 years. And so I think the earlier you can learn that, and like sharing that with some of the younger players, encouraging them, like, there is a grind, and yes, you have to get into the grind, but there's also, you have to take time away. And the balance of that is probably the most important to having like a long, successful career.
Yeah, well, can I talk about the grind for a little bit? Because I think
Yeah, absolutely.
we talk about the difficulties in sport, and of course it is a dream job. I'll still say to this day, being a footballer is the best job in the world, but I think we don't necessarily talk about the difficulties, and we kind of still shy away from that. Why do you think sport specifically does that, right? Why do you think we as athletes have that mentality that it's still difficult to share your mental health and how you're actually feeling? And what can we do as a sports community to help that? Apart from exactly what you're doing, but what can we add to it? Because you're doing it.
No. Thank you. No, I think talking about it, obviously, like, the more we normalize it, and the more that like you go, it's okay that you're having a bad day. It's okay that like you're not feeling 100% today. Because the reality is, like, an athlete, you can't give 100% every single day, but like you can give your best. So that might look like 80% for me today, but I'm going to give my 80%, or tomorrow I can give my 100%. But I think as athletes, like, we're always taught like to push to your limits and like push yourself, and it's going to be worth it, and like the grind's going to be worth it. And like, I don't disagree with that. I just think it's finding and compartmentalizing the right time. So like when you're at training, when you have your time on the ball, like when you have the energy to give, you go 100%. But like if you don't, or if you're feeling like I can't give it all, I feel like I'm going to take away from myself if I do more today, then you're kind of just damaging yourself, I think, for the long run. And so it's like being able to find that balance of like today's a day for me that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna give everything that I can. And then sometimes, you know, you're a bit tired, you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm gonna give the best that I can. And being able to find that balance, I think, is also just part of like being professional. And it happens. I think some people end up being able to do it earlier, some people later, but it is a fine balance, because you also know, like, you can't have teammates coming in and just kind of like taking the piss on the day. Like, you can't go through the motions. That's not going to help you either. And so, you know, and that's going to be frustrating to your teammates as well. So it's like, yeah, you know, maybe today I wasn't my best, and but it was what it was today, and I gave it everything I could. And then tomorrow, I'm going to do what I can today to recharge, so tomorrow I can be at 100%. I think it's a lot easier said than done. I think sometimes the awareness of knowing when you can't give anymore is the hardest part when you're growing up, and like in terms of like maturity and stuff like that, because sometimes as athletes we're like, oh, we can push, and then you just push yourself to a point of burnout, and then it's almost like at that point it's a bit too late to then now you have to take a bit longer to recharge. And so that's been, personally for me, I think a journey is like finding when I'm about to reach that point of burnout, and then okay, I need to go do these things so that I'm prepared, and I can like kind of fight that and like, I guess, like push it off, postpone it a bit more.
Oh, this has been like exactly what we all needed to hear. I don't think, you know, just from an athlete standpoint, I know we've all played professional, you're still playing, but we've all hit that point where you do hit that burnout and you're mentally spent. But I think you're doing something so incredible. And even looking at the shirts, never ending project, grow in grace, therapy is cool. You're normalizing the conversation so much more. And I just really appreciate everything you're doing. And last question, can we do an Attacking Third Positive Apparel collaboration? I feel like this needs to happen. Are you game for that?
I'm open. I'm so open to that. That is sick. That'll be a first big break for me. Well, it feels like it's getting serious. Yeah, no, that would be great. I'd be really interested if that's something you really want to do. I'd be happy to. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yay. Po, we love having you on the show. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, go purchase something from Positive Apparel. Producer Mark dropped it in the chat. Po, thank you so much, and good luck this weekend against Louisville. We wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Po.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the combo. Appreciate it.
Oh. Are you feeling like, why did I get emotional? Like, I felt, it felt very validating, very seen. I feel like those are conversations maybe is becoming more normal, but I think younger Darian, maybe when I was playing, would have loved to have. Did you feel the same?
Couldn't agree more. And I really think, you know, mental health has been spoken more about it. There's more conversations, but definitely this idea around the athlete and mental health is so different. Things that happen in the corporate world just aren't necessarily the same in the athlete world. You have to just turn up and do your job, and that is it. So this balance of getting it right in the athlete world is amazing. So Po's work is so valid, like incredibly valuable for everyone in the game. So grateful she came on. She spoke so well as well.
And I can't wait for this collab that we're going to start.
Yeah.
Producer Mark, I know your mind's going, so we're going to get that going. We're going to be Po's big break. Everybody stay tuned. We're going to take a short break to then talk with Jen about the Women's Champions League final. Stay tuned.
UEFA Conference League final on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount+.
YouTube, welcome back to Attacking Third. We just talked with Madison Pogarch. Don't forget, go look at her Etsy shop, Positive Apparel. All right, Jen, let's jump into Women's Champions League, because you were in Lisbon, super integrated to all of the activations around Women's Champions League. You were at the match. What was the atmosphere like? I mean, I just want you to take us through the 2 days that you were there and you know, give us a little BTS.
It was honestly incredible. I think, you know, as a retired player now, Darian, and having seen I never got to a Champions League final, right? I got knocked out on multiple semi-finals, never reached it. That was my first time even being at one. And honestly, I take my hat off to UEFA. We play strong. Every single partner that really made it such an incredible weekend. I got down to the fan zone on the Friday and Saturday morning, And just the amount of pop-up events that made the sort of fan experience really cool and insightful, and similar to Po's conversation, just loads of really valuable conversations around the women's game. Storytelling, physical things to do. There was 3v3 tournament on the Saturday morning before the game. So it was just a credit to everyone involved of the whole experience. It just showed the investment that the game really deserved. And then the game happened. And it was just the underdogs taking on the Spanish giants of football. And look, we spoke about this before. We knew that Arsenal had to play the perfect 90 minutes. They had to defend for their lives, and they did. And Stina Blackstenius comes off the bench and does what Stina Blackstenius does, turns up in the big moments. It was just incredible. I am beyond grateful to have experienced it as, you know, an employee being there, working and co-commentating the game. And then just as an ex-player being back in the Arsenal community and getting to share that experience. Like, you have no idea how lucky I felt being able to get my hands on that trophy. It was just the best feeling.
There she is.
See the joy, sheer joy in that face is unbelievable.
I feel it.
Yeah. But it's just you never know what it's going to be like when you leave a club, right? But the way that I still feel so involved and just welcomed back every time our paths are crossed is just so special. So it was really, truly an incredible weekend from start to finish. And look, the fact that they won it, they made history again after 18 years, was just an absolute remarkable. The pride was just bursting in me to see my mates go and do it. Especially that one on the left there, Kim Little, one of my best mates for so many years. Grew up playing with her. Under 15 Scotland, we met as kids. She signed the year after they won it in 2007. So 18 years later, I know firsthand the amount of work that goes into it from behind the scenes. So to see her lift the trophy with her other sort of co-captain, I could say, Leah Williamson, captain of England as well. They're part of the leadership group. So the amount that they've driven the club over the years. So to see them as such great mates in the game lift the trophy was honestly an unforgettable moment.
Whew, I've got chills you walking me through this. I mean, the question I have is, you mentioned, you know, being a former player, you don't know how a club's going to embrace you or how much they're going to involve you. And I've just loved watching, especially you and Leanne, another friend of the show, get honored. And I want to know, did you feel that way? Because you two are, and many others are, some of those players that this team has been built on your backs to get to what it is now. You are 100% a part of that journey and why this team is where it is right now. Did you feel honored while you were there that you were a catalyst as to getting this Champions League?
I mean, that's a great question. And I think, you know, I learned the term imposter syndrome quite
it's real.
And I think you never really feel that, right? The answer to the question is no, I never really felt like that until people say, you know, you were a part of this, that it's led up to this. And you kind of think, you know, really? But, you know, I was a part of it for a really long time. And, you know, to see them go and do it. And another thing that I love that Arsenal did was hosting a lunch for all the 2007 winners or the ones that could make it. And Leanne was a big part of that. She got into the training ground and had a lunch with the girls leading up to the cup final to kind of have that feel of what it like to come from legends, right? To come from the players that had won it in 2007. But to answer your question, I think imposter syndrome is always, you know, you always think, oh, should I be here? Am I allowed to be here? Can I do this? Can I do that? So no, I never want to step on anyone's toes or overstep. But I will say they never make me feel like that. They always make me feel so welcomed and so valued. And I felt so lucky to not just be working there, but to kind of go and get on the pitch and say hi to everyone and really feel the emotions with them. And other players were there as well. Viv Miedema, Laura Wienreuter, a lot of players that, you know, have left the club and got to go and experience that game. It's down to one reason. We're all such a close-knit group. We're all such really good friends. And, you know, I see the Pride shirt behind you and I'm kind of hoping you feel the same, right?
Yeah. No, I do. It's tough when you step away from the game. And especially, you know, you're like, damn, I wish I could be there, wish I could be on the pitch. Yeah. But knowing that, you know, Jen, especially for you were so integral to this team and to why there's such a rich history of making it to the semis and having that, underdog mentality, but that ultimately got it over the line. But I want to know, you were there partying, you were living it up, you were with your best mates.
I don't know.
What was yeah, we saw it. We saw you all over the gram. What was one of your favorite moments from the weekend?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. One of my favorite moments definitely was being at the fan zone before the game and sort of realizing the hype and kind of scale of how big a Champions League final actually is. Again, I never made it as a player, so to go and experience it and see the sort of we did a meet and greet, and I think sort of on the Friday night, day before the game, myself, Alex Scott, Emma Byrne were there, and just seeing the wave of Arsenal fans that had all kind of turned up to not just go to the game, but to kind of experience the whole match day experience, I guess. And kind of that was seeing the fans that had turned up. That was really special. My other one that I think everyone knows about is Jess Glynne's performance at the after.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously partner of Alex Scott, Arsenal legend, and her voice is absolutely incredible. Obviously, she has bangers back from so successful. But hearing her voice live and just that party in that moment, again, group of people having a good time was just so much fun. So and of course, the final whistle. I was, I had to hold my voice. I was obviously commentating, and final whistle went. They'd done it, made history, and that's half of your best mates on the pitch experience it, and trying to hold it together in that moment again is something I'll never forget. So there's so many moments.
Yeah, I feel like more and more are just going to keep coming up too, of like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh shit, yeah, that happened. When in the game though, were you like, oh, Arsenal can do it? Arsenal have this?
Honestly, I think when they scored, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think they defended incredibly well the first half. Missed a few big chances. I think Kim Little had a good chance. Frida Manum had one that was brilliantly saved from really long range effort. But Barcelona dominated possession. Barcelona were the ones piling on the pressure. In my head, I was like, can Arsenal sustain this? Because they were starting to collapse a little bit, getting deeper and deeper. And the one thing I was thinking, bring on Beth Mead, bring on Stina Blackstenius, because they can change the game. The deeper that Arsenal got, you needed that outlet of Stina Blackstenius to go and run in behind. And I thought it was a genius from Renee Slegers to bring them both on. And what do you know? It's Beth Mead that gets the assist and Stina Blackstenius that puts it in the back of the net. So it was in that moment that I think they got the goal. And I think it was around the 78th minute mark. I can't even remember. It's all a big blur now. But I think in that moment, when you're 1-0 up, you've got the goal, you've got the lead, and Barcelona failed to break you down, even no matter how much pressure they're putting you on. And then I think back, I was like, Daphne van Domseller didn't really have any worldy saves to make.
No.
The defending in the box was unbelievable. Steph Catley, Leah Williamson, and Kim Little in front of them. That triangle was just, they cut out every cutback that happened, any long ball that came into the box, any sort of small passes around. Their box defending was incredible. So I think when they went 1-0 up, I was like, they can do it. They just got to manage the game. They have every trick in the toolbox ready to go, everything in their back pocket to slow the game down. So I think it was in that moment when they made the changes, and then Lotte Wubben-Moy coming off the bench, man. Like, go to a back five, shot, game over. It was hard to watch, don't get me wrong. Barcelona are going to pile on the pressure. You never know when you've got players like that to kind of pop up and create whenever, but they were absolutely exceptional, and they played the perfect game. Renee Slegers made the perfect changes, tactically spot on, and it's a credit to them. They absolutely smashed it, and it was a really, really difficult game for them. But I don't know what your thoughts were watching the game.
I mean, okay, first of all, my favorite moments outside of the game was Katie McCabe dropping the F-bomb twice. That cracked me up. Live TV at the parade. Leah Williamson did it too. Yeah. But just the emotion of, you know what? I don't care. I'm here to celebrate. The journey has been incredible. And then when I was watching the game, I was actually at a watch party in Brooklyn. There was a ton of people there. There was a bunch of vendors. It was really cool. It wasn't anything I put together either. It was just the football community in New York put together this giant watch party. So we all got to hear your voice. But watching it, I think once we got to the halftime, I thought Arsenal are going to win this.
Yeah.
I think because the life and limb defending from that trio back there, I think just frustrated Barcelona so much that I thought there's no way they can do anything more. Arsenal need one chance to put a shot away. If it goes away, Arsenal have got it in the bag. Because defensively, they were unstoppable. So I think that's when I had the belief, but you're right. I think all the credit to Renee Slegers. The subbing, the tactics, she did everything just right. And you predicted it. They had to have the perfect game, and they really did.
I think the story of that as well, Darian, is unbelievable when you talk about Renee Slegers, right? If you look at Arsenal's season as a whole, from Jonas Eidevall starting the season, multiple losses back to back. She goes from assistant to interim to head coach all in one season. And bear in mind, they don't win anything domestically. Chelsea dominate domestically, winning everything there is in the WSL, FA Cup, League Cup, and the league. They won the treble. But yet Renee Slegers has turned this season around and goes and wins the biggest European club trophy that you can win in football. And that, to me, that story in itself, she's the first Dutch manager, I think, to do it in the women's game. And just the scale of that is true. And also she played in the academy. There's just so much. It's like lifetime contract, sign her up. Yeah. And seeing the celebrations as well today was honestly amazing. Like, outside the Emirates, seeing them in front of the fans, the ones that couldn't travel was awesome. But I think Renee Slegers for me was a game changer in terms of turning this season around. You could see it.
Yeah, you can see the belief in the team. It's such a game changer. You can have the best team in the world, but if you have a manager that doesn't get you to believe and lock in, it doesn't matter. So I love that. I love that it's a female head coach that did this. There's so many stories and storylines I feel like we could jump into and highlight. You mentioned Kim Little, Leah Williamson being a mascot to now being a leader on the team and winning a Champions League.
I know. What do you think, based on what you watched on Saturday? I don't know what day it is now.
Yeah, it was Saturday.
On what you watched, right? It's with Chelsea dominating. Do you think Arsenal now need to be right, we need to go and win the league next year?
Yeah.
Right? Don't
you? I think that's the next. You've won Europe. You have to win domestically now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so intrigued to see what happens over summer and
what changes.
Yeah, and just also how Chelsea must feel knowing that was the one that they wanted, right? They wanted to win the quadruple, and they got beaten by Barcelona in the semis and finals prior. But for this, I think it could be a game changer for Arsenal, which is good time. Good times.
Yeah. Right. Well, congratulations to first Jen Beattie, our girl, and Arsenal. This was an incredible journey to watch them. We're so glad we get to be a part of it and hear directly from the legend herself, Jen Beattie. With all of these legends, you got photos with everybody. I love this.
It was awesome.
Mark, just keep rolling them in.
Yeah. Producer Mark, just keep going. How much more you got? He's like going through my Instagram now.
Yep, he did screenshots of all your stories or something. So congratulations to Arsenal. Legendary performance this year. We're looking forward to what's next. Another player that we need to highlight, though, someone that's been both of our teammates, Rachel Corsie, announced her retirement at the end of the season on Instagram. Mind you, Rachel Corsie has won a domestic treble her free season with Glasgow City. She played in the NWSL once for Seattle, with Utah, and with your girl Darian at Kansas City for a year. She's ending her career with Aston Villa. She played with from 2022 to 2025. And she's just represented the senior team for such a long time. She has 154 caps. She's been captain since 2017. And we're going to say goodbye to an absolute legend in the footballing community. Jen, what are your thoughts about Rachel Corsie stepping away?
I mean, I just want to talk about the amount that she's done for the game, especially in Scotland, obviously starting her career at Glasgow City. But I had the absolute pleasure of being vice captain for a couple of years with Rach for the national team. And I see firsthand the amount of hours and time and effort it goes into being a captain is a different ballgame. the complete link between staff and players, and the hours that goes into it is truly exceptional. And what she's done from their contract situation and really pushing the Scottish FA to get the girls what they deserve is something that I think every captain in the women's game has probably had to go through at some point. But again, probably don't know firsthand what that actually entails until you see it. And I will say she has gone above and beyond to do that. What she's given to the game, 154 caps, is absolutely incredible. So much time has been invested, and she's played everywhere. I know your teammates. You crossed path at Kansas City, and you know, I'm sure everyone that has played with Rach realizes the kind of person she is, not just the player she is.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear that, you know, through each team she's been at, through every stage, she has always been true to herself, and she's pushed the game forward so much. At Kansas City, she was our captain. She advocated for the players. She was on the Players Association board along with Madison Pogarch, who we got to talk to earlier in the show. But just an absolute legend. And come to Attacking Third. Let's get another friend on the show. Come on, Rach. Come on over. Well, I can see her commentary. Yeah, for sure. Okay, everybody, that was our show. But before we go, we just want to acknowledge an incident that happened earlier today. Really tragic and unfortunate news coming out of Liverpool. Merseyside police say a man has been detained and arrested after a car collided with a number of pedestrians during Liverpool's Premier League trophy parade. A large number of emergency vehicles are on the scene. The story's developing. Our hearts are with all those affected by this horrific incident. Liverpool FC released a statement that says, "We're in direct contact with Merseyside police regarding the incident on Water Street, which happened towards the end of the trophy parade earlier this evening. Our thoughts and prayers are with those who have been affected by the serious incident. We will continue to offer our full support to the emergency services and local authorities who are dealing with this incident. As more information comes in, we'll keep you informed here on Golazo Network, and as well as all of our shows across cbssports.com. So keep them in your prayers. Wish them all the best, and we'll try to keep everybody updated and stay in tune. And thank you so much for sticking with us here on YouTube, or whether you're listening as a podcast. From producer Mark and Jen Beattie, I'm Darian Jenkins. This was Attacking Third.